Hi, welcome back to another video. So today I'm breaking down the exact AI workflow that we have used to ship over 40 MVPs for our clients in the past year at my agency, Ignite Labs. So if you're new here, Ignite Labs is my AI first software agency where we build web and mobile apps in just 2 to 3 weeks. And while traditional development takes around 3 to 4 months and 50k as budget, we do it in just 3 to 4 weeks and for 1/10 the cost. Also, the workflow that I'm going to teach you today is something that I have already taught to over 600 non-technical founders inside my private community, which helped them, in building their first SaaS without writing even a single line of code. And today I'll walk you through it step by step so you can see exactly how building and launching SaaS works in the AI world right now. By the end of this video, you will know how to plan, design, build, review, and launch your product as fast as possible and potentially get it in front of thousands of users and start earning money from it. So if all of this sounds good, let's jump straight into the video and I'll show you my exact workflow. Okay, so the first step is planning. I have seen so many people skip this step and go straight into Cursor or Cloud Code to start coding because it gives you that instant dopamine hit. But if you skip this step, the chances of you never shipping your product becomes really high. Before you open any AI tool or write even a single line of code, what I want you to do is go into ChatGPT and start planning your product. You have to understand your idea in depth so you know what features you want to build, what your target audience looks like, etc. The goal of this phase is to ready the technical documentation like your PRD, the UI development plan, etc. So basically these are the documents which will help you in future, when you start building your web app or mobile app, so that you are able to give better context to your code editor, be it Lovable or Cursor. And it is also really important for you to understand your idea in depth, right? So I have seen a lot of times people have an idea, but when someone asks them to explain that particular idea, they aren't able to do that and they get confused. And that is why you have to spend 20 to 30 minutes inside ChatGPT so that you have complete understanding of your idea and you are able to get these technical documentations ready. You can use text or voice. I really like using voice because I can just go inside ChatGPT and start talking about my idea. So you'll be able to see for this brain dump, I just journaled whatever came to my mind or something like. So I have seen that brain dumping everything onto a journal and then asking ChatGPT to you give me all the insights as well, actionable to-do list. So basically I just explained my entire idea and then it just gave me the idea overview, the MVP feature set, etc. Now once you have all of these features, you can go ahead and you can go through these. So okay, these are the features that we should prioritize for phase 1, and then you can use the Moscow framework. So basically Moscow framework stands for must have, should have, could have, won't have, and then you have to prioritize the features for that particular phase. Make sure that it is around 4 to 5 core features max to max. Don't overcomplicate it, because later on when we launch it into the market and we make it live in front of the users, your users are going to let you know what features they want. And this way you are able to ship your MVP in just 2 weeks instead of spending like 2 months onto an MVP that no one wants. And that is it. In 20 to 30 minutes, you will have all the clarity that you need to have around your product and you will be ready to start building, but this time with great foundations, and you will also have all of the documents ready. Now, this plan becomes your base for everything you will do next. Okay, so the next optional step is the design phase. So basically this is my vibe designing workflow. So this part is optional, but I use it whenever the client wants wireframes or high fidelity designs. So sometimes the clients pay us extra, to get these designs ready. So instead of wasting, weeks into Figma and spending a lot of time into creating the designs, because at the end of the day, these are just wireframes and high fidelity designs and this is just an MVP. So we get straight inside UXPilot. So UXPilot helps us, convert our prompts into a design, which you can then share with your client. And once the client is happy with your designs after, a few discussions, that is when you take these designs and then you convert it into code. I call this process vibe designing because I don't even open Figma. I spend like 30 to 40 minutes, playing around inside UXPilot and getting these wireframes ready. You will say that these are not really fancy or anything, and I agree, because we are just building an MVP and the goal right now is to ship it in just 21 days. So we don't spend a lot of time into designing. You will get a decent design at the end of the entire workflow, which will look really good and which would be more than enough for you to start getting your first customers. But let me still show you how you can, actually create these hi-fi designs. So first you have to go, into UXPilot, and from there you can select whether you want to create the wireframes or the hi-fi designs. After that, you have to select the screen. So for this example, I chose mobile, and inside the ChatGPT planning phase, which we did earlier, you will create few documentations, like PRD, the UI development plan. So UI development plan is basically all of the screens that you will have inside your web app or your mobile app written down into detailed descriptions. So that is what you have to do. You have to go into create flow, and here you can start pasting those description of each and every screen. So you will be able to see that for welcome screen, what is the purpose, the components that we want. So basically app logo plus tagline, one liner about Braindump's value, two primary buttons, sign up and login, etc. And you have to do this for all of the screens like sign up login screen, home and daily dashboard screen, text dump screen, etc. And once you do that and you click on generate, you will be able to see that UXPilot creates these hi-fi designs for you in just 3 to 4 minutes, and you will have all of these screens ready. So you will be able to see that I did not spend much time into this phase, and still I have all of these screens ready, which look decent. I mean, not that bad. So let me show you what screens it made ready. So as you can see here, we do the brain dump. This is a screen for, going pro. This is your week at a glance. So basically the dashboard screen, the task name, this is the Pomodoro timer that we have inside this. You have hit a daily limit. So this screens which lets people know that this is a pro plan and these are all of the benefits, etc. So you will be able to see that you are able to get these hi-fi designs up and ready in like 20 minutes. Now, like I said, this phase is totally optional. If you don't want to do this, that is great. Just take a UI development plan from the previous phase inside Lovable or any other AI builder of your choice and start building your website. More on that very soon. Okay, so now that you have done your planning phase, also you have done your optional vibe designing phase, now is the time to start building your web app or your PWA or your mobile app. Now for web apps and PWAs, I always start inside Lovable. So this is this AI builder which takes away a lot of complexities from you. So you don't have to, figure out the dependencies, the tech stack, etc. You can just get inside Lovable and you can start building your web app. Now, when it comes to building inside Lovable, I always recommend that you start building your landing page, because if you're able to get your landing page right and if it looks exactly according to your vibe and theme, then it becomes really easy for you to, build the rest of the front end, because you can just let Lovable know that this is the vibe and theme that you want to use for other screens as well, and it becomes really easy for you to create the entire front end. I mean, we have built front ends for our clients in like 2 to 3 hours only, which look decent, all inside Lovable. Now, one cool thing is if you did your design phase inside UXPilot, then you can literally take the code from inside UXPilot. So let me show you. So if you click on this, you will be able to see this view source code button, and then you will be able to copy the source code. Now you can take that source code and you can go inside Lovable and you can prompt it like, please build the following screen exactly in form of a PWA, and then just paste that code, and you will be able to see that Lovable was able to replicate the exact design, but this time in form of a PWA or a web app, does not really matter. So this is a really added advantage if you get inside UXPilot. So if you are a beginner and you don't have a great design eye, then you can use this workflow in order to start, building the front end of your entire website. And then you can just go through each and every screen and you can prompt Lovable in the similar way, and you can have your entire web app ready. This is a client project that we did, inside Lovable only. This was built 100% inside Lovable. So before we proceed, I wanted to make something clear. So if your project is simple, so it does not have very complex third-party API integrations, etc., then I would suggest that you build everything inside Lovable, because today Lovable has everything that you need in order to make your application live. You can, publish it from here only. They also have security scanner, which helps you scan through your code base and look for vulnerabilities, etc. You can also connect your custom domain and have your web app live, in front of potentially thousands of users. So that is why I would recommend that you complete your entire MVP inside Lovable. But if your application is complex, it needs complex third-party API integrations, complex payment logic, etc., that is when you have to use an advanced AI IDE like Cursor, or you can use an AI terminal like Cloud Code. And these are much more powerful when it comes to, building complex logic. So keep this in mind. If your app is simple, build it entirely inside Lovable. But if your app is a bit complicated, then I want you to build like 70 to 80% of the web app inside Lovable. And once you think that Lovable has started to, throw a lot of errors and you are just burning tokens, that is the time for you to get into the AI IDE of your choice. In my case, it is Cursor, which is built for complex development. So now let's talk about pulling the code into Cursor. Now it's time to bring your code into Cursor, which is the main coding environment. So it's very simple to do that. You just have to, go into the settings of a project. And if you go into the settings, you will be able to see this GitHub integration. And from here, you will be able to see where your repository is live on GitHub. So you can just go onto that and you can then go inside Cursor and you can basically, clone that repository into Cursor, and you will have that live in your local development server now. And you can then, start playing around with it. You can update it. You can use Cursor agent in order to make some changes, etc. And the best part is Lovable comes with two-way GitHub sync. So basically, if you push something from here, then it will automatically get updated here. Now later on, let's say you start coding inside Lovable again and you push some features that will get updated, and now you will have exactly that inside your cursor as well. So this GitHub two-way sync is a great feature, and I want you to make the most out of it. Now Cursor isn't just another code editor, it's a full AI IDE built to help you build anything you want. It's insanely powerful. Sometimes you will need to review code manually as well if you are building something really complex, or you might need to use some advanced workflows, which includes maybe integrating MCPs or using Taskmaster or CodeRabbit to review your entire code base. More on that really soon. But Cursor is really powerful, and sky is the limit. Basically, you can create anything inside it. And with this new update, so Cursor 2.0 rolled a few days back only, it is so much smarter now. They even have an AI model of their own. So as you can see, Composer 1, which is not as intelligent as Sonnet 4.5, I would say, but it is still really great. And the best part is it is really quick. And when it comes to vibe coding, speed always helps. They also now have an inbuilt browser which you can use to open up your web app inside Cursor only, and you can pinpoint the things that you want to fix all inside your AI IDE, and background agents and lot other features. I'll do a dedicated video on this, and I'll show you all of my tips and tricks that we use when it comes to building inside Cursor. So yeah, now that you have your code base inside Cursor, now there are a lot of things that you could be doing. So you could be hooking up some MCPs inside Cursor in order to make your lives easier. So when it comes to MCPs, there are like hundreds of MCPs in the market right now, but there are just a few that you need to use. I also did a thread on Twitter on this, so let me show you what MCPs I'm currently using. So yeah, this is the thread. So these are my top 5 MCP servers for vibe coding. So I am just experimenting with MCPs all the time, and these were the ones that I use on daily basis. I'll do dedicated videos in the future here only on these MCP servers, but for now you can see that what is an MCP. So basically MCP is Model Context Protocol. So you can think of it like a USB-C, but for AI. It connects your AI agent like Cursor or Cloud Code to tools, databases, docs, and services in one clean setup. So let's say right now you want to know the entire database design that you have inside Supabase, right? If you ask Cursor that what is your database design, it won't be able to tell you. And what you will have to do is you will have to go to Supabase manually, and you will have to check your database design, and then you will have to tell Cursor that okay, this is my database design. But if you have Supabase MCP set up and running, if you prompt it, then it will automatically go into Supabase. It will fetch all of the information that it needs. It will let you know that this is the exact database design of your entire web app so far. So MCPs are really great. So as you can see, I use some of these like Git MCP, Supabase MCP, Browser MCP, Cloud Taskmaster, etc. I'll do a dedicated video on this in the future, like I said. So till then, feel free to experiment around. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Yeah. Now, another important thing is once you are inside Cursor, it is really important that you provide correct context to it, and that is where project rules comes in. So it is where you tell Cursor that what your app is about, what stack you are using, how your folder structure works, what conventions to follow, and what not to touch. So basically these are some rules or some guidelines that you are letting Cursor know beforehand, so that it makes edits to your code base in a particular manner and does not break things that you don't want it to touch. Once these rules are ready, Cursor AI becomes way more accurate. So there are no random hallucinations, there are no wrong imports, no code rewrites that break stuff. Now for that there are like a lot of strategies, but my favorite strategy is using the generate Cursor command rule. So basically this is a command that you could run inside Cursor only, and what it does is it goes in through your entire project structure, and then it creates project rules which are exactly for your code base. So it takes care of the front-end conventions, what to take care about in the back-end, etc. There are a lot of videos on YouTube right now on Cursor rules, and I did one for my private community as well. So yeah, feel free to check those out. I really think that I need to do a dedicated video on Cursor because there are so many features that they have shipped recently which really changes the way we code using AI. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Okay, so now let's talk about choosing the right AI model for each task. This part is important because different models work better for different things and people complicate it a lot. So I just want to make it a bit simple for you. Okay, so for most coding tasks, use Composer 1. So if you don't know what Composer 1 is, Cursor just came up with an AI model of their own, and it is really good at coding. Not as smart as Sonnet 4.5 or GPT-5 codex, but it gets the job done. And like I said, it is really quick, and it is also cheaper. So stick to this for majority of the tasks. Now let's say you want to go deep inside the code base and you want to understand some particular thing. For that, I always recommend using a model which has a huge context window. So for this, I love using Gemini 2.5 Pro. So let's say you want to understand a particular feature, and that is where Gemini 2.5 Pro comes really handy. So you can just ask it. So let's say I implemented this feature. Could you please explain it to me in detail? And then it will go through the entire code base because it has such huge context window, and it will do that particular task for you. Now, when you are implementing a complex feature, that is when you have to use either Sonnet 4.5 or GPT-5 Codex, because these are, according to me, the most intelligent models right now for coding. So yeah, stick to these for complex coding tasks. So yes, I want you to play around and use whichever handles your task best. Experiment with these models if you have free time, else what I just told you, that is more than enough for you. Now, if you just want to wipe code and ship a web application that will break as soon as it hits like 10 users, then go ahead, keep on tinkering with your code base, keep on prompting cursor mindlessly what you want to build next. But if you want to build a web app or a mobile app which could have potentially like, let's say, thousands of users, then there is this very important thing that you have to do, and CodeRabbit helps you in doing that. So when you ship, you have to make sure that a product is secure, scalable, and optimized for speed. Now, before this used to be really complicated because people had to do everything themselves. So there were senior engineers, reviewing junior engineers' code base. They used to go line by line and check for vulnerabilities, etc. But right now, you have only yourself on your team, and that is why you need an AI which is dedicated to reviewing your code, and that is where CodeRabbit comes in. Whenever you build a feature, make it a habit that you use the Fix with AI feature of CodeRabbit to review the feature for bugs, security issues, etc. And CodeRabbit does a really well job in scanning everything that you have built, finding the exact line where the issue is, and then it gives you a message that you could just copy paste inside, Cursor, and Cursor will take care of handling that fix for you. Now that is just the first layer. I just built a feature inside Cursor. Now instead of pushing it directly to GitHub, you use CodeRabbit at that particular time. I have already done a dedicated video on this on my YouTube. I'll link it below. But basically, it just goes through all of the code that you just added, and then it looks for security vulnerabilities, and then it gives you a message that you could copy paste inside your Cursor agent and fix that instantly. Now, if you want to take things to the next level, then there is another layer that you could add for reviewing your code. So for every feature, I create a new branch inside GitHub. Okay, so once I finish that part, I push it to GitHub and let CodeRabbit review it. So CodeRabbit is really great in reviewing your PRs as well. So it goes through a pull request like a senior developer. It catches logic errors, missed imports, poor naming, and even suggests fixes automatically. It then implements the suggestions, tests locally, and once it's good, we just merge the branch back into main. So this loop, of building, reviewing, merging is what keeps the project clean, and we repeat it for every feature, when we are working on an MVP until the whole MVP is ready. So if your goal right now is to start earning money from an MVP and ship it into the public, and you are scared of, shipping a broken product, this step is really, really, really important, and I want you to get used to it. It is not that hard. Like I said, just to download the extension and then start reviewing it inside your code base. Now, if you don't want to do the PR thing, that is fine. But the Fix with AI feature of CodeRabbit is like really important. So I want you to do that at least. Okay, so now it's time for the final step, which is reviewing with the launch checklist. Now you might be thinking that why I'm putting so much time into reviewing the entire web app. Now you have to understand that this is really, really important, because I have seen so many people ship broken applications all the time, which breaks as soon as it hits like 10 users. So that is why you have to make sure that you spend extra time into reviewing your entire code base, so that the day you launch, your product doesn't break. So let's talk about reviewing with the launch checklist. So once everything is built and working, I do one last step, which is the launch checklist. This is where we make sure that the app is actually ready for real users, and there's like a final check that you have to do before you ship your product, because there might be some features that you built inside Lovable and those would not have been reviewed by CodeRabbit, and that is why I just go through this launch checklist at the end, and you can review your code base for the vulnerabilities and everything one last time. So it includes things like, securing your databases, setting up your environmental variables properly, adding server-side validation, connecting your domain and SSL, optimizing your performance, etc. Once the checklist is done, we then deploy it using Vercel, run one final test, and that's it. The product is live. So if you are wondering that how exactly did I create this launch checklist, so you can do something similar inside Cursor. You can just go into it and you can let it know that now I want to make my product live, and I want you to let me know what are the main things that can break on the launch day. It will then give you a list, and then you can just ask it to, create a launch checklist, and then ask it to go through the entire code base. You can use Gemini 2.5 Pro for this because of its huge context window, and then Cursor will just start going through, code base, and it will keep on checking each and every point point, and at the end you will have a secure product ready. So yeah, I mean pretty much it. That's the full workflow. So this is how we go from an idea to planning to designing to building to reviewing and then finally launching. This system is what we use for every single client project at Ignite Labs, and once you get used to it, you will be able to ship SaaS really fast and faster than 99% of the builders out there. Now it's not necessary that we follow each and every step. It's just that we have this entire structured system, because we have been shipping since so long. So we have built this system, and we have to make sure that the quality is top notch. But feel free to, take out bits that you like and create a workflow for your own. I just shared what we have been doing. So yes, if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below. I'll make sure that I get back to each and every one of you. I genuinely believe that this is the best time to start. AI has made building software simpler than ever, and you don't need to be a developer anymore. You just need to know how to use AI the right way. And the best part is that majority of the people don't even know that how AI is revolutionizing the way we build software. They are still writing code the traditional way, and that is why you have an advantage if you start right now. So if you want to learn the full system in more detail, I have a private community where we talk about building with AI all the time. So feel free to check it out. So basically I have the entire structure mapped out, from you going from just an idea to building it out using AI and then getting to your first 1K RR. So that is really helpful, and I have already taught that to over 600 non-technical founders so far. So if you're a solo founder and you just want to learn how to build your own SaaS, that's where you would start. But if you already have an idea and you would rather have us build it out for you, then you can work with my agency one-on-one, and we will help you in making your idea live in just 21 days. Either way, I want you to start. Don't just sit on your idea waiting for the perfect time. Go ahead and take action, and you will really thank yourself in the next 6 months. So yeah, I mean, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section below, and I'll get back to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for watching.